there, and what's going on, you guys? So today, the 15th of December, marks my first complete 365 days, 1 full year on YouTube. It has been 1 year since I put out my very first video, which was the review for Steven Spielberg's West Side Story last year. This is very big for me. This is special, and I wanted to make a special video because of that. So I decided to look back at old suggestions that you guys left for me that you wanted to see, and I had about 3 to 4 requests to have my complete Blu-ray collection. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to give you just all my Blu-rays, tell you all the ones I own, a brief thing will be said probably about each one of them, and that'll be it. So I'm just want to let you guys know before we get started, though, I'm not a completist. If I have a movie series and I don't like all the movies out of it, I won't buy them all. I also do have nowhere near all the Blu-rays that I want to own, so if I make another Blu-ray collection in the future, which I'm hoping probably be sometime next year, late next year, there will be more Blu-rays in it. So with that said, just know everything here is new what I want, but these are movies I really like. The way this is going to work is I'm going to take a clump of Blu-rays off of the shelf. They're all in alphabetical order. I'm going to hold it up, tell you the name of it. If there's something I want to say about it, I will. If not, we'll move on. 12 Angry Men, the original 1950s version. I first saw this in high school for an assignment I had for my business law class, and I fell in love with it the moment I started watching it. The performances, the script is genius, the way everything pays off, the long takes, everything about this movie, the premise, it's perfect pretty much to me. This is one of those few perfect movies. I think I should review it sometime. I love that movie to pieces. 21 Jump Street, great reboot. It's hilarious. I love the jokes in there. Very funny. 300, big Zack Snyder fan. This movie's not historically accurate, but I don't know. I love it anyway. The A-Team. This is my first guilty pleasure. I tell everyone this all the time. I grew up on the old show. I loved it. And I will not go to this movie until you can tell me another film where I can see Bradley Cooper sitting in a tank that's being attached to parachutes that's flying as he shoots drones down with a machine gun saying, "What you got, bitches? What you got? Yeah!" Yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, it's Liam Neeson, Bradley Cooper. It's great fun. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. A Few Good Men, fantastic movie. Some of the best dialogue in any film. Alien and Aliens. Now, I will only ever own Alien and Aliens out of the official Alien series because of the fact these are the only good movies. Which one's better? I don't know. I have to think about it. I'm a little disappointed Aliens doesn't have a slip cover, though. A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. It still has the tag on it, $12.99. I like this movie a lot. Really think it got gypped out of Best Picture, potentially. American Hustle, one of the smartest and best movies I've ever seen. I love it to pieces. Argo, one of my favorite Best Picture winners. Ben Affleck absolutely killed it. Arrival, one of the smartest and most intelligent movies ever. I love this movie, doesn't hold your hand, and Amy Adams gives one of her best performances ever. Massive fan of her. Atomic Blonde, kick-ass movie, love it, love the aesthetic, and Charlize Theron was so good in this movie. I think it's one of the best action films ever made, personally. The Avengers 4-pack. So, I love The Avengers. This is exactly what I was hoping for. I'm not a big fan of Age of Ultron, but it comes with the other 3, and I'm in the mood sometimes to watch Age of Ultron. The other 3 I consider some of the best movies ever made. So, there's that. Back to the Future, the Anniversary Edition. This movie, all of them. All 3 of them are fantastic. I'd say it goes 1, 3, 2 if I had to rank them, but this is the best, version of, time travel ever. This is also one of the best trilogies ever, and I really like this because it comes with the slipcover, and inside it is this little booklet for Back to the Future, which has all the discs in it and a whole bunch of stuff. Absolutely love this. This is sick. This is one of my favorite Blu-ray owns I have because of just how cool it is. Aesthetically, that is. I mean, yeah. So there's that. The Bad Guys came out this year. I'm not a big cartoon fan. This was an exception. Sort of had like a GTA 5 Ocean's 8 feel to it. Really, really like that movie. It was really good. Basic Instinct. I don't know. I've always liked this movie. Despite the fact it's not that great, really, it's got some issues, but there's some quality things to this movie. I really think it goes for a Hitchcock feel, and for the most part, I think it's kind of classic and does great. And now here comes a rapid fire. The Batman. Batman Begins. The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Rises. So, my basic thoughts, Batman Returns is the only other live-action Batman movie I want to own. I wouldn't want to own the rest. And basically, I think those are the best Batman movies. I'll say more in another video. You don't need to be rattling about that right now. Ben-Hur from 1959. In my opinion, the best Picture winner ever made. This movie is flawless to me. I got to see this movie in theater when they re-released it. If you ever get that chance, experience it. This movie is amazing. Black Hawk Down, not 100% historically accurate. Love it, though. One of the best war films ever made. Blade Runner. This movie is top tier. One of my favorite Harrison Ford performances. Ridley Scott made such an amazing film. It's mesmerizing, to say the least. I think it's a masterpiece. Blade Runner 2049, a follow-up sequel, which is just as good as the original, and has one of my favorite directors behind the wheel of it, so there's that. Casablanca, one of the best older films ever made, won Best Picture again. I love this movie. Classic dialogue in there. The Captain America Trilogy Pack. I love all the Captain America movies. Winter Soldier is actually my favorite Marvel movie of all time, so gladly own this. Fantastic movies. Casino Royale. This goes back and forth with this and Goldeneye being my favorite Bond film. This movie's fantastic. Daniel Craig's first outing. Love it. Love how violent. Love that. The whole movie was gritty. I like that. Push the borders. Castaway, great movie. Collateral. Tom Cruise gives one of the best performances he's ever given and looks sleek while doing it. Michael Mann's direction is flawless in there. Crazy Stupid Love, one of my favorite comedies ever. Very relatable, extremely real, and Steve Carell's best performance in a movie as far as I'm concerned. For comedy, that is. Creed, a great follow-up to Rocky. Not perfect, but it is near perfect, and I love what they do with all the characters in here. Darkest Hour, great movie. Again, it's not like a perfect historical movie, but love the performances, and a brilliant script is behind that movie. Death on the Nile, I love the production for this movie, and I think that, honestly, his entire series so far has been great. I want more of these. I really like the aesthetics for these movies. The Departed, love it. It's a classic film. Dirty Dancing. Patrick Swayze, man, that man is made different. And that's the main reason I own this movie. If you know The Lift, like, come on. If you've not seen Dirty Dancing, please go watch that movie. Divergent and Insurgent. I don't own Allegiant because I don't actually own it because I don't like it very much. I think these two are really good, actually. I've always been a big fan of them. I'm a massive Shailene Woodley fan on top of that. But there's something I think to be had in those movies. So we have Dumb and Dumber unrated version and The Mask, Jim Carrey 2-pack collection. Love both those movies. Watch them every year. Dune on 4K. This movie, this was great. This is probably one of the best movies ever. It was my favorite movie of last year. So glad they released that. Dunkirk, fantastic war film by Christopher Nolan, extremely realistic. Encanto, I have a special place in my heart for Encanto. I have some people that really share a close bonding we have with this movie. It's just fantastic. End of Watch, great movie. I actually think it's one of Jake Gyllenhaal's best. Elf, love this. It's a great little Christmas music movie, and it's just got some classic scenes in it. Elvis on 4K. So I got this because I didn't care for the other slipcover, you know, and I like the way this looks. The thing is, I like Elvis. I don't love it, but I can't look away from Austin Butler's performance in here. He needs an Oscar this year for that. I know Brendan Fraser's in the talk, but I really want to see Austin Butler get it. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Again, I want Michelle Yeoh to win Best Actress for this movie, and this is fantastically original and wonderfully brilliant movie. Another little bit of a rapid fire. Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6, and Furious 7. The only Fast and Furious movies I will ever own. I only like those three. Those are the only ones that really hit the spot for me. I'm not as big a fan of Fast and Furious as I think a lot of people are. The Fault in Our Stars, this movie hits different, tells a story so well without being soapy, and again, Shailene Woodley, love her performance there. Fight Club, classic movie. Love watching this every year. Brad Pitt is one of the best performances of all time of any actor. First Blood. Honestly, I think I like the second Rambo, but this is the only one I really own right now. I want to get the second one, but this is the best one I think out of the lot. Ford versus Ferrari. This movie, man, Christian Bale in here is great, along with Matt Damon. Their chemistry is fantastic. Forrest Gump. Should have won Best Picture? No. Still, it's a wonderful movie. I like it a lot. I have fun watching Forrest Gump. Frozen, not a big fan of Frozen 2, but I've always had a great time with the original one. The Fugitive. Harrison Ford, in case you guys don't know, is my favorite actor. You're going to see a lot of his movies in here. This is one of his best. Really gave all he had for that one. Full Metal Jacket. Do I need to... Guys, this is a classic Kubrick movie, and has some of the best lines in here. Like, holy Jesus, what is that? What the fuck is that? Like, come on, guys. It's classic. Gladiator. Are you not entertained? Love it to pieces. This is just... Ridley Scott hitting different again, as he so often does. GoldenEye. As I said, this movie and Casino Royale constantly battle for my favorite James Bond movie. Pierce Brosnan is my favorite James Bond. This movie saved the franchise. Perfect movie as far as I'm concerned. Love it. Gone Baby Gone. This movie asks some tough questions, and it takes you along on a ride that's not the most comfortable, and I respect that a lot. Good Will Hunting. I actually just saw this a few days ago, and it gets better every single time. I had some events take place in my life. This movie really hits hard for home for me because of that. Gravity, genius movie, and it has some of the best special effects and best scripts that I've seen ever. The Grinch That Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey. I was introduced to this movie by my teacher again. In case you can't tell, I found about a lot of movies through my teachers, and she made me fall in love with this movie when we watched it around Christmas time. The Guns of Navarone. Not a lot of people talk about this movie. Fantastic war film with some pretty gritty action for the 1960s. Love it for that. Home Alone. Took a lot to find this movie. Just got it recently. It's a classic, guys. I don't need to say anything. Inception. Christopher Nolan knocked it out of the park with this one, and it's such a genius premise. And what takes place in it, that man's mind is always working. Independence Day, just love it. It is the 90s. This is how the 90s were. That is fantastic. That's the kind of movies I love. The Indiana Jones 4-pack. I love all Indiana Jones movies. I love all 4. I'd say Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is the lesser. Raiders is probably my favorite. Last Crusade second. Temple of Doom third. But love it. These are some of the best movies ever made. Indiana Jones 5 coming out. This is great. I'm thinking of reviewing all the Indiana Jones coming up to the release of Indiana Jones 5. But yeah, Indiana Jones is probably, in my opinion, I'd say top 5 best movie series ever made. Inglourious Bastards, my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie ever. Interstellar. I think everyone's heard about it. If you've never seen Interstellar, go watch it. That movie is going to mess with your brain. Iron Man. Honestly, right now, this is the only Iron Man movie I want to own. I love the character Iron Man, but his movies just didn't necessarily live up to the potential. Tom Cruise's Jack Reacher. That movie is classic. I love the scene where they all cover him up so the police can't see him. He gets on the bus with the hat. The Jack Ryan 4-pack collection. I love all the Jack Ryan movies, so I own this. Harrison Ford is my favorite Jack Ryan in there, so again, more Harrison Ford. Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit. I know a lot of people don't like this movie. I happen to like it a lot, so. And I wouldn't consider it a guilty pleasure either. I think it's actually kind of underrated. Jaws, one of my favorite movies ever. I remember sneaking on TV at 5 years old watching this after my mom told me it was too violent. And I didn't regret it either. Jurassic Park. This is the only Jurassic Park movie I own other than Jurassic World. I think these are the only 2 worth owning. Jurassic Park is one of my favorite movies ever made. And Jurassic World is a fun follow-up. I think it pays some good homage. They're both classics, but I think Jurassic Park it's in another dimension, guys. Zack Snyder's Justice League, the director's cut on 4K. This is the movie I think we all wanted. It is so much better. It made me truly understand how bad studio interference can be, and this is honestly one of the best movies ever made. That is one of the best superhero films ever made. Kick-Ass, a twist on the superhero movie done so well. I absolutely love it. I love the scene where he gets hit by a car after he gets stabbed. I don't know, that's just me. The Kill Bill collection, both movies. I think Kill Bill 1 is better than 2, Volume 2, but still fantastic Quentin Tarantino movies. Lara Croft Tomb Raider, another guilty pleasure. It's the early 2000s where she goes up against the Illuminati with Angelina Jolie, who I absolutely love, one of my favorite actresses, so yes. And I love Lara Croft, so you better believe I own that movie. Last Samurai, Tom Cruise, in a completely different kind of role that he does so well in here. That performance is just whew. The Lego Movie and the Lego Batman. So these 2 are the only Lego movies I ever really want to own. I think the Lego Movie is a little better than the Lego Batman, but the Lego Batman tells such a good Batman story, and this is also a really good movie on its own. The Liam Neeson cameo is also fantastic in there. Liar Liar with Jim Carrey. Every scene with him in here is hilarious. That was Jim Carrey in his prime, so that's about as good as you're going to get with Jim Carrey. It's fantastic. The Lion King, the original. This movie is the best Disney animated film ever made, in my opinion. Just everything about that movie hits different. The Longest Day, one of the best movies about D-Day ever made. And that's despite the fact it's black and white made in the 60s. I think it's fantastic. Looper, a genius movie with Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Rarely do I see a movie that's that good. Lord of the Rings trilogy, I don't know the Hobbit films, and I think this is probably one of the best trilogies also. It's truly epic how much they did with just practical effects. Lost in Translation. Extremely realistic movie that's extremely emotional. Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson kill it in there. Mad Max Fury Road. One of the rare modern action films that's just as good as the old ones. That movie is hard to take your eyes off of. Mamma Mia, guilty pleasure of mine because Pierce Brosnan and Meryl Streep sing in here. And that's pretty much the only reason I own this movie. And I like ABBA. There's no other reason I own the movie. It's just a guilty pleasure. Man of Steel. This movie, I don't care what anyone says, is near perfect. This is probably... This goes back and forth with Superman, the original, for being best Superman movie to me. I love it. This movie also helped me through a really rough time. Henry Cavill is fantastic. I love him as Superman so much. The stuff that's going on in DC right now is disappointing me because of that. The Martian. Pretty scientifically accurate movie with a brilliant Matt Damon performance in it. The Matrix. I only own the first one. I will never own any of the other ones. I could see myself potentially getting to if I found it in a secondhand store. But honestly, I don't have an urge to watch any of the other ones. Moulin Rouge. Love this movie so much. One of Baz Luhrmann's absolute best. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. A film that holds truer today than ever, I believe. And I think it deserves a bit of a rewatch. James Stewart gets a fantastic performance in there. Read up on the production history of it. It's pretty interesting. The Mission Impossible complete series. I know Mission Impossible 7 is coming out next year, but hey, I got this earlier. I don't like Mission Impossible 2, but the other 5 are top-tier movies to me, so... totally worth the buy. I think that was probably one of my best buys ever. Brad Pitt in Moneyball. Once again, a fantastic older movie. And Brad Pitt and Angela Jolie go in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. A guilty pleasure action movie of mine that I find absolutely entertaining every time I watch it. Murder on the Orient Express continues the play murder mysteries with Kenneth Branagh. And this is the first one that did it. It got a slipcover and stuff. I like those. No Country for Old Men. This movie is chilling, and I love it for that. No Time to Die with slipcover. I actually like No Time to Die. I know it's controversial. I am a fan of Daniel Craig and Pierce Brosnan Bond films. What can I say? And I think Craig got probably the best finale film of any Bond ever. North by Northwest. Hitchcock's best, I believe. And Cary Grant on top 2 performance. Oblivion. A movie I think is underrated for how good it is with Tom Cruise and Morgan Freeman. It's just great. Some of the ideas in here. Are they all perfect? No, but it does it so very well. Alright, The Patriot, historically inaccurate, but a movie that makes me say, hell yeah, America, every time I watch it. There's also some very funny villains there for the English. Paw Patrol the movie. I love this movie. I don't know what I can say. I think Chase has a great character arc in there, and I'm highly entertained throughout. Only 2 Pirates of the Caribbean movies I own are The Curse of the Black Pearl and Dead Man's Chest, the only 2 that I actually like. And Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow. What can I say? It's truly a classic character. He's never hit a... That was a very bad impression. Ignore that. Okay, moving on. Predator. The only Predator movie I'll ever own. It is fantastic testosterone 80s movie with some great horror to it. The Prestige. This movie is another of Christopher Nolan's genius films that I respect it. This movie... I'm not going to spoil it. You need to see that movie. Pride and Prejudice, the movie... and Pride and Prejudice, the miniseries. I love these both. I have to think about sometime which one I like more. I think they're both fantastic, though, so... And I love the Pride and Prejudice story. I said official Alien movies earlier because I own Prometheus. I think this movie is highly underrated and is spectacular in every way. I don't know. It seems like a lot of people don't like that movie. I think it killed it, personally. Psycho, another one of Hitchcock's classics, really reinvented the genre. Pulp Fiction, a fantastic Quentin Tarantino movie. A movie that made my brother and I, every time we got a burger, go up to each other and go, this is a tasty burger. So, there's that. Rear Window, my only other film I own by Hitchcock. These are about the only ones I've ever owned, but this is a fantastic movie. And that's something that's aged so well over the years, honestly. Rocky, I love all the Rocky movies, minus Rocky 5. And I don't know, I tried to order the other ones, and I had a whole issue with it. They didn't get shipped, so right now, this is the only Rocky movie I actually own. But no, Rocky is one of my favorite characters ever. Saving Private Ryan on 4K. Great war film by Steven Spielberg. Should have won Best Picture, period, the end of subject. 7. This movie, man, if you've not seen it, go watch it. You are not prepared for how fantastic that is. The 2 film collections, Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. These movies both should have won Best Picture, as far as I'm concerned, and did not for some obscure reason. They're wonderful, and I absolutely love them. Shawshank Redemption is one of my brother's favorite movies, too, so. Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. I love the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes. It's It's hilarious because he plays it so very differently than anyone else does, and I love that. Silver Linings Playbook, Jennifer Lawrence, Bradley Cooper, fantastic performances. This movie is real and very relatable for nowadays. Skyfall, one of the best Bond films ever with Daniel Craig. Helped to really do that 50th anniversary right. Love it to pieces. The Sound of Music, one of the few musicals I actually like. I'm not a big musical person, in case you haven't seen, but this I grew up with. Some of my earliest words as a child were singing The Sound of Mika. So, that tells you how far back I've seen it. Speed, this movie is simple. Bomb on a bus, go under 50, it blows up. Right? Everything that could happen with that, with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. And they do, and it works beautifully. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, with this whole booklet and thing, to tell you the truth, I thought this was just the first one, because I kind of like the first one. I don't love it, I just kind of like it, but I got both, and, you know, it looks kind of sick, so I decided, I'll keep them both, besides I think Andrew Garfield is an amazing Spider-Man. No pun intended. Alright, and here we go. Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan, the best of the original Star Trek movies. Star Trek, The Voyage Home, or the one with the whales, where you guys, this is some of the best comedy in a Star Trek movie, and the chemistry in there, the banter, it's fantastic. Go watch that movie. Star Trek, The Undiscovered Country. This movie played off Cold War things perfectly, and Christopher Plummer is a fantastic villain. This movie is just great. The original Star Trek, there was something about it that just made it different. Star Trek 2009, in my opinion, one of the top 3 Star Trek movies ever made, and Star Trek Into Darkness. I don't know Beyond because I haven't found it just yet, but I think the J.J. Abrams rebooted Star Trek is just some of the best Star Trek ever. I am just amazed how good they were. I feel like the first one in particular really hit right. I know a lot of people are like, I don't like it, but not me. Those are some of the best ever. Now for my Star Wars movies. As I said, and if you gathered, I'm not a completist, so I own only the Star Wars movies that I feel I want to rewatch again and again. To be fair, I don't hate any Star Wars movies, there's just some I don't want to revisit. So with that said, Revenge of the Sith, Kenobi, the TV series, Rogue One on 4K with a little bit of a slipcover, A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, The Force Awakens, and The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, those are the only Star Wars movies I really want to own, and I think Star Wars honestly is one of the best movie series ever made. I grew up with it. It has a very special place for me in my heart, so I've never been able to hate Star Wars. I don't know, there's something magical. Star Wars is a place I've always loved to escape to, and there's nothing like it in the entire world. But Star Wars is my favorite movie series of all time. Step Brothers, a comedy that I love watching every year. Superman the movie. Again, Christopher Reeve is Superman. This is Superman right here to me. That's what I picture when someone says Superman to me. Fantastic. Swiss Family Robinson. I don't hear this talked about enough. I think I should review this movie because this movie's some really great action in it and a fantastic underrated film score. Taken, I only own the first one. This movie, Liam Neeson basically revitalized his entire career, recreated his image with that, and that movie is kick-ass as heck. The Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. The only Terminator movies I will ever own. The rest just, I don't know, they didn't do it right after that. The Thing, fantastic movie. I saw it in a theater, and it has some really great imagery in here and some great plot twists, and the ending that is truly magnificent. Thor. I love the original Thor movie. I wish I could own Ragnarok. I don't have it yet. I think a lot more MCU movies in case you haven't been able to detect. I don't know. I haven't gotten to buy a lot of them. Titanic. One of the best movies ever made. I love it. And the theme song, guys. The soundtrack, everything. The movie's basically flawless. Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick both hold an especially close place in my heart. Top Gun Maverick, though, one of the best movies ever made. This is on 4K, and I love this movie. I've seen this movie literally 10 times in theaters just this year because that's how much I love the movie. True Lies, an extremely difficult Blu-ray to find. It took me a lot to actually find this. It's one of the best Schwarzenegger action movies of the 90s, and Jamie Lee Curtis is iconic as heck in here. The Usual Suspects, an iconically funny and intelligent movie. West Side Story, 2021 by Steven Spielberg. This movie is what got me on YouTube. After watching this, I said I have to talk about movies. I'd already been inspired to, but this was the main reason. And this is a masterpiece in every way. Steven Spielberg is just a genius. Witness, Harrison Ford again gives a performance that should have won him the Oscar, but didn't. The Wolf of Wall Street. I love this movie, and all the F words in it. Also, there's Margot Robbie, if I'm being real. Anyway, we have Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984. I know a lot of people don't like 84, but I've always liked it since the release date. I've never wavered from that. I think Gal Gadot is fantastic, and I'm, again, disappointed with what DC is doing right now. The World is not enough. This is an extremely, massively underrated Bond film. It's pure genius, and Pierce Brosnan's best performance as James Bond. Zero Dark 30. This movie is insane. Like, this is really good. Again, it's not perfect with historical accuracy, but it tells a story that I find absolutely intriguing, and whew, that movie is faded into obscurity for literally no reason, and I need more people to know about it. Really quickly, before I finish, I'll show you guys my DVDs I have. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, classic Disney movie, which really kept the studio alive. Anastasia, Ingrid Bergman's best performance as far as I'm concerned ever. Maybe Gaslight, but this is my favorite. Felicity, an American Girl Adventure. This is a TV movie with Shailene Woodley when she was very young, and it's about a girl during the Revolution, and I think I'm going to do a review of this, because I think this movie is truly great. And The Magnificent Seven, the original. I got this for my birthday from my sister, and as far as I'm concerned, one of the best Westerns ever made. Yul Brynner is second in that movie. So, yeah, that's all the movies and Blu-rays I own. I really want to buy more. Yeah, guys, leave your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching all the way to the end, because if you made it this far, you're a freaking legend, man. That was a lot of movies. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more of these coming up. I'm excited. I have some things coming up for special videos, and I'm hoping by next year when I do this, I'll have more. I might make this a yearly thing. So, thank you guys always so much for watching. I appreciate you. Happy holidays, and I'll see you all next time.